Don't tell me you guys don't know about ClimateGate. You don't know about ClimateGate, which is the scandal surrounding climate change scientists where they were caught plotting and destroying their own findings upon realizing it wasn't in line with their predictions. The IPCC, you know, the biggest scientific organization that leads the research on climate change. You know, they are the people who tell us climate change is the biggest existential threat to mankind. Those people. And we say, really? Let's give you $100 billion, more of taxpayers' money if you conduct more research. They go away and they come back and they say, oh, it's even more of a bigger problem than we thought it was. We need some more money, please. Of course they do. They want more money for research. And because it's the biggest threat to mankind, we have to give them tens of billions of pounds more. But yes, let's get on to ClimateGate, the scandal that's been suppressed by the media, where the IPCC, which is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, were caught falsifying climate change data to make it look like the temperature of the planet is increasing. The IPCC's data security was hacked and the emails were leaked where we found messages between the scientists saying things like, yeah, let's bump up the temperature data, and yeah, let's destroy that data because it shows we were wrong. Notably, there was an email from Phil Jones from the Climate Research Unit, and it reads, I've just completed Mike's trick of adding in the real temperatures to each series for the last 20 years, and from 1961 for Kenneth's to hide the decline. The emails show how they plotted to blacklist and stop scientists that were publishing data that went against their research. These guys have been lying to us. But it's only climate change science, right? Who cares? Remember, guys, the climate change agenda affects your life. This solution to this non-problem affects what light bulbs you are allowed to buy, how you are allowed to heat or air condition your home, the food you are allowed to eat, the clothes you wear, and how many children you are allowed to have. You know, some scientists have even suggested shrinking the population. They're literally talking about killing us. Let me show you how this isn't about the climate. All of it is about financial gain. Allow me to use the climate change activist strategy against them. If you click away from this video, then you don't care about the climate. If you don't care about the environment, then you're evil. Don't be an evil climate change denier. You're a good person, right? So yeah, this video, we got a whole lot of information.
I think it's kind of interesting because if, like you said, you ask these people like, what's the biggest threat to mankind? They say climate change. If you ask the Secretary of State for Defense, he'll say it's ISIS. You know, because he needs money to fight ISIS.
That's so true. Yeah.
So it's like they're only gonna say. If you ask a dentist, they're gonna say it's gingivitis because they need money to treat these things.
But what's also very, very interesting is that before I read this book, I'd never heard of ClimateGate, and you'd think that is the biggest scandal of all time, especially with the amount of money that we spend on climate change a day. But yes, pause this video right now. Go and read The Politically Incorrect Guide to Climate Change by
Mark Morano. And when you read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can watch this video because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Aisha Library.
So yes, this book...
You've been waiting to get into this one, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I've been wanting to read this for a while. We haven't found the time, we've been so busy.
We haven't had the right climate. Yeah, we're off.
Yeah. Go on, though. You go. I just went for a long... I'm on these break. I'm not used to working this for this long.
The ozone layer has nothing to do with global warming. And I was like, this is a mad one to start with, because I said, if you asked me to say one thing to do with global warming, I would have said ozone layer.
I thought that's the whole point we were protecting. That's the whole thing we were protecting, right?
The whole reason we wasn't supposed to be using Lynx Africa. The whole reason. Do you know what I mean? Lynx Duck Temptation.
That's the whole point reason why we started recycling, isn't it?
Literally.
To ozone
when I was younger, nobody spoke about climate change. Instead, people spoke about global warming. There are holes in the ozone layer, people would say. Hairspray and deodorants are damaging the ozone layer and they're causing the Earth to get hotter. The ozone layer is actually a region of Earth's stratosphere that protects the Earth from harmful solar radiation. While it is true that chemicals used by humans do cause damage to the ozone layer, ozone depletion itself is not a major factor in climate change. One of the scariest things in life is how quickly misinformation can actually spread. All it takes is one woman to post it on Mumsnet, and before you know it, Lynx Africa is causing the destruction of society as we know it. And it came from nowhere. I've believed this my entire life. My entire life. I don't know who told me this first, but it is very, very scary how quickly misinformation can spread, and it goes unchallenged as well.
Oh,
it goes
especially when it comes to,
undisputed.
like, you get a kid with Down syndrome, you know, and you can't go against her. If you go against her, you're evil. You're evil. You can't go against her, you know, when she's calling you to action.
Yeah, nah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with calling people to action to help the planet. But when we're making big decisions that are backed by billions of pounds of taxpayers' money, we've got to think about it. There's nothing wrong with trying to look after the planet. Nothing wrong with that, you know. But it's just about what we are implementing in terms of laws and rules and control. But yeah, the climate is controlled by hundreds of variabilities. The fact that the media has led us to believe that we can control the temperature of the planet by controlling CO2 is ridiculous. Did you know that CO2 only makes up 0.04% of the atmosphere? Yes, you heard that right. Not 4%, not 0.4%, 0.04%. That's like trying to cool down the temperature of the whole planet by turning off the heating in a tiny country the size of Fiji. Doesn't make any sense, does
It's
it?
a fourth of a nothing. Like,
Doesn't make any
ridiculous.
sense. CO2 is not some magical temperature control knob of the planet. That's ridiculous. We can't even control our own economy. And you think we can control the temperature of the globe?
It would be
As
nice,
Eddie
though.
Abu says, wake the fuck up. Oh gosh, well yeah, it's, you know, it is what it is.
Did you know that there are at least 250 scientific papers published between the 1960s and the 1980s about the phenomenon of global cooling? Fast forward 20-30 years, scientists are now warning of global warming. How helpful it must be to have an all-encompassing umbrella term like climate change in case there are any unexpected fluctuations in unexpected directions. I don't know whether the weather will be good today. Like, it is so weird to me how it's like, first of all, the information is freely available. It's not even like we have access to these Area 51 databases. Google search, and you'll find these people talking about global cooling. And then like 20-30 years down the line, they're like, the planet's not getting cold, it's getting hot. Then they're like, well, it's not getting hot. This is called climate change. Just climate change. The climate is changing, essentially. We don't know how, we don't know when, we don't know what direction.
But it's us. It
But
has
it's
to be
us.
us.
But we do know it's us.
Yeah, it's definitely us. Oh my days. But yeah, it's interesting because as you said, the information is out there.
Yeah.
But for some reason, we like to be spoon-fed the information. If it's not on TV, we're not going to find it. We're not going to believe it.
It seems official.
But
on
also,
TV.
what they do on the TV, we do not have. I've never seen this personally. You know, a debate between the scientist and a climate change skeptic. They call it. Even the word skeptic, it's like a bad word.
It's like a square
you
word,
know?
it's literally a curse word.
Yeah, you're a skeptic, aren't you?
And
You know,
you're
that's all someone has to
non-believer.
say to you in the conversation.
Disbeliever.
He's a skeptic.
Yeah, disbeliever, 100%.
We've got people like atheists, right? Who
Yeah,
don't believe
well,
in
I said
God.
that as well, yeah.
But we can't have a climate change skeptic. You're just a dirty human being.
That's literally what it is.
That's what it's
Dirty.
like. That's what it's
Dirty.
like. Oh, he's a skeptic. You know, anything he says is rubbish.
Literally. Keep them away from the kids. Keep them skeptics
Yeah.
away from the kids, you know what I mean?
Don't
Something
don't
like
give
that.
him a job. You know,
Literally.
bro.
Yeah, no,
I'm telling you,
100%.
there could
He's not
be a
clean.
future.
Don't know where he's
where-
been.
There could be a future, bro. Listen, people are losing their jobs by saying "Free Palestine."
Oh,
People
yeah.
are losing their jobs for saying "Free Palestine," right? So there's definitely in the future there could be an example where people are losing their jobs for saying, "Oh, I don't believe."
Yeah,
in
you can lose your job for saying anything.
You know what I mean?
You can literally lose your job for saying anything.
Fools the joke's on them. You got to have a job first. I get the last laugh. The human brain does not memorize things accurately. Your brain is not a tape recorder. You actually use mental cues to help you remember things. One type of mental cue that we use are abnormalities. So, for example, you are going to remember the woman in the red dress because that's an abnormality in your day. It's not every day you see an attractive woman in a red dress. So when you say things like, when I was growing up, it used to snow all the time. Not only are you referring to a period of time where a period of your life where your brain was still developing, but you are likely remembering the abnormality. You could barely spell your name. Do you think your memory serves you accurately, do you? There are writings from Thomas Jefferson, who was the third US president. He was born in 1943, and even he said, when I was a little boy, the US would be covered in snow for 3 months of the year. That just doesn't happen anymore. The globe must be getting warmer. So for more than 200 years, we have been falsely believing that the globe has been getting significantly warmer by a dangerous margin. That is not true. From 1850 to now, the planet temperature has risen by 1 degree in 150 years. That's what all the commotion about. 1 degree.
Literally 150 years.
So in another 150 years, it might
be enough.
it might
come back 1 degree this
it
way.
it might do that, but it might, even if it was to go up by 1 degree again, who cares? That's good. It's good. Fuck the polar bears, right?
Oh, my hot guy summer. What you talking about?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, the polar bears, they ain't checking for us. They ain't
You know what I
checking
mean?
for us.
You
We
go,
pull up
you
on
go
them.
look, bro. You go look for a polar bear.
If we pull up on them,
are.
polar bears gonna get dinner. Just from a few hours of research online, climate change is one of those topics that is a little bit like public education. It's a little bit like gender theory in the sense that one side is often heavily suppressed. So it's very difficult to even engage in these debates because as soon as people know that you might be on this side, maybe on that side, you're shut down straight away. If you're on this side, you're with them. Don't need to have a debate. If you're on that side, shut down. No debate.
Yeah.
So it's like one side is heavily suppressed and there's information that could make a difference to you if you had it, if you heard it, and no one's hearing it because it's suppressed. I did a bunch of Google searches for common climate change misconceptions or just climate change myths. And all of the articles that I found were very supportive of environmentalists, climate change is very much real, we're definitely to blame, the Earth's gonna explode in 20 minutes, like everybody, action stations. It was very much, like be on alert, fear-mongering. And it's looked at like atheism, like you said, like you disbelieve it, how dare you? It's illegal to disbelieve in what
dirty, nasty.
Literally, you like
Filthy.
it. You looked at it.
It's funny. I didn't have a debate. I told someone I was reading this book, right, and I was telling him about climate change, and I was like, why they called it climate change, and nothing's really happening. He said, yeah, but the planet is getting warmer or whatever. And I said, how do you know? Have you seen any science? And he said, we just know this. It's all, he wasn't really saying anything, but he was getting distressed that I was simply asking him, have you ever seen any evidence ever? Just because winters are cold still,
Yeah, legit.
Summers are hot. Even the summer that we've had has been rubbish. So where is this climate change that we're supposed? He's like, he didn't really like.
Yeah, well, look, sometimes people are so hopelessly dependent on the system, they will fight to protect it. Do you know what I mean?
You can use it for anything.
You can use it for everything. You can use it for everything. So it's a thing where people will get distressed when you make them question stuff they didn't think to question because it's not something they think, it's something that they've been told.
Yeah. So, is it my turn? It's my turn, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's my turn.
Yeah.
So, this is the most important... I don't know if it's the most important, but it's one of the most important points. Joseph, do you know how we generate electricity?
Go on.
So, we generate electricity through many ways. We had this discussion before where you said, with wind turbines, But most of 95% of the electricity we generate is by burning wood pellets. So we cut down trees and we manufacture them into small wood pellets, right? And we burn. You see those big 16-wheeler Arctic lorries? We burn 3 of those every 10 minutes. And if we were to turn our whole society to electricity, we don't generate enough right now. We would have to triple the amount of wood pellets we burn to sustain the whole network. What kind of bullshit is that? So we're going to electricity just to burn wood pellets.
Yeah, no.
To control CO2. We'll be cutting down 3 times the amount of trees and burning wood pellets. It's ridiculous. This is what you guys want to... This is what the climate change people want us to do. Go to electricity, because it's better for the planet.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Have you lost your mind? Have we lost our minds? I don't know who lost their minds first.
Collectively, we lost our minds.
Collectively
Literally,
lost
who lost
our
their mind first, the chicken or the egg?
We've collectively lost our mind. And this is the thing. I ask people, why is it no one knows how we generate electricity? We've all grown up with electricity. No one knows where it comes from.
Benjamin Franklin invented it.
No one knows where it comes from.
Come from the wall.
No one knows where it comes from. Why is this?
Zeus sent it.
It's been suppressed. That's why.
Yeah,
It's got to be.
I think there's an element of people just being ignorant though, because we have so much. You become ignorant when you have so much. Like, I'll give you an example. Right, this is going a little bit off topic, but I'll give you an example. Like when I used to work in McDonald's, right. what I used to notice, I used to do this thing called kiosk coach, which is basically when you stand in the lobby and you direct people to the kiosks, you help them with the machines, and you're basically just a customer service person. So essentially what happens is I worked out that the reason why most people are dumb is because we train them to be dumb. So you walk up to McDonald's, the door opens for you. Pictures of burgers on the screen. You walk up, you press the screen. Press the burger you want.
No money more. No,
Yeah,
just tap.
wait for your number. And it's just like, we just train people to just don't use your brain at all. So when somebody is, so for example, I'll give you an example. This woman came up to me on the till and she was like, "Oh, can I have nuggets?" I was like, "Wait, what's going on?" And she basically asked me for nuggets. I said, "That would be some money, please." And she went, "Well, how much money?" I was like, "How many nuggets? We do this all day. We do this all day." We train people to be as dumb as they possibly can be. I don't know what the purpose is.
No, I understand. Well, it's capitalism. So you want to go
Just
to
give us your money.
You want to you want to go somewhere that's easy. So then you've got two companies competing for easiness. It's a race to the bottom. It's a race to the bottom. Soon there's going to be a company where it just knows what you want. You just go in, tap, and it's waiting for you. So it's capitalism. And yeah, that's what happens. As you said, scientists know that the climate is so stable that they've changed their climate crisis from global warming to climate change. Why do you think that is? It's because we're being tricked, and you are making somebody a lot of money. But that is interesting because apparently in 1980s it was the greenhouse effect, and then that got done away with because they realised that the globe is not like a greenhouse. Even some of these greenhouse gases don't act like they think they act. Then it changed to global warming. They said, "Oh no, let's change that. It's climate change now." And you notice what they're doing now? It's about air pollution. That's what a lot of these. We want to get away. We want to take away these gas vehicles because we want to clean up the air quality. So we're even moving away from the climate change a little bit, and it's moved on to air quality because once we realise, or it comes out more in the media that CO2 isn't doing anything to the planet. Yeah. Oh, they still got to sell their electric cars now. So let's clean up the air quality. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? 100%. So they move the goalposts. They move the goalposts. That's what they do. So I don't know if it's a good idea saying this type of stuff. There's some big windows in there.
Yeah, no, oh my God.
Billions.
Listen,
of dollars.
I always just look at that apartment building up there, and I'm literally just thinking, listen, we're getting dropped.
There's trillions of dollars at stake.
We're literally getting dropped. Yeah, we'll get dropped.
Trillions
of dollars at stake. So there's nothing they won't do. There's no extremes they won't go
for
to.
$1 trillion.
If it was my $1 trillion,
I'd do for 50 quid.
Listen, fiver is what it is.
Oh, I've done for 50. For 50
I said I've done worse for less. I've done worse for less. The common denominator of climate change is fear. Here's a quote from this book. A considerable change of climate, inexplicable at present to us, must have taken place in the polar regions. The polar regions are totally ice, by the way. The Greenland seas have been hitherto covered in ice, having the last 2 years entirely disappeared. This quote was from the close friend of Charles Darwin and president of the UK Royal Society, Sir Joseph Dalton Hooker, in 1817. So in 1817, as far back as that, they were like panicking about climate change, just thinking next 20 years we're done for.
Yeah.
Here's another quote. A great climatic change is now carrying the world slowly and irresistibly towards worldwide drought. This was from a professor of geography in 1914. In 1958, scientists thought that the polar ice caps were 12% less in area and 40% thinner than a half century before, and postulated that, even in the time of our children, people would be able to sail ships right through the North Pole. 60 years ago, people thought, by now, you would be able to sail a ship through the North Pole. They thought the ice caps were going to be that melted, you would be able to sail through the North Pole. So there are people out there, whether they go by the names of anti-environmentalists or climate change skeptics, who challenge what we are told about the changing environment. And the one common denominator of climate change is fear-mongering. So like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 60, 80 years ago, fear was still there. And like you said, over the last 150 years, the climate has gone up 1 degree. And everyone is scared from era to era to era to era. They're scared. So I personally think that, combined with the fact that so much is being suppressed, like one half of this entire argument is being suppressed, it's just, you're not seeing it, means that the fear is warranted. There's fear for a reason. And it's like...
And do you know what? The funniest thing is, right, the mass population believe that this is a settled debate. That's what it is.
Yeah,
That's the
which is
problem.
why you're looked at like you
So-
dirty denier. You're denying the climate change. You're
Yeah,
denying
people
global
think,
warming.
They think scientists agree. They think scientists all agree on climate change, and that's just not true. Lots of scientists have been blacklisted and suppressed, but the science is not in.
But the funny thing else is that what you also said as well is that scientists, if they get money to conduct experiments, huh?
The mercenaries.
Yeah, they get money to conduct experiments. Not only that, but they get money to conduct experiments. If they don't prove what they set out to prove, they've got to waste that research because it's no use to anybody. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's it for? You're not getting paid for this. Prove what you said you was gonna prove. Otherwise, you're not getting no more
And
money.
it's even deeper than that. Companies go to scientists to get them to prove stuff. You know,
Yeah.
that's how the scientists they need to pay their bills. So they've got to do work
Yeah,
for
100%,
someone. They're not going to
100%.
always get grants from the government just to prove some random bullshit that no one
The
cares
government
about.
don't give a shit
Yeah.
about that, any of that. So actually, there's a term called starving artist. Like,
Yeah. The corruption of the IPCC, that's the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Did you know that the climate change scientists admitted to purposely scheduling the climate change meetings that they held with politicians on the hottest day of the year, where they would make sure that the air condition wasn't working, as an extra step to convince the government to act, i.e. increase funding? They admitted this. This is done and dusted. Admitted.
Legit.
Yeah, we did that shit. You know.
so I was running game, wasn't you?
So,
I want to get the money.
They were manipulating our MPs, and think about it. We got Boris Johnson.
Listen, our MPs are for sale, 100%.
Not only that, but they ain't the brightest. Anyway, they're like, I do believe that. You know?
Bojo.
You know what? Last time we cussed Bojo, there were people going mad in the comments. You know,
Yeah,
I
well,
said Boris Johnson's an idiot, and then what did they say? Didn't they cuss you about suits or something like that?
Yeah. Some
they
guy
were-
cussed me about the suit I was wearing. He cussed about the chair we're sitting on. I was just like, listen, if you love Boris, don't park this at our
Yeah,
doorstep.
you
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Jesus Christ.
it's weird. Like, the funny thing about Boris Johnson speaks multiple languages. He's got degrees. Do you know what I mean? So he's
Yeah.
an intelligent person. But if you ever heard him speak, if you see this trim, do you know what I mean?
Sounds posh as hell, though.
He is posh as hell. But that's the funniest thing because he's against immigrants. This guy was more New York. So it is what it is. Deport yourself. Deport yourself. That was the point I wanted to make as well. I literally said the fear mongering and then the COVID vaccine as well. Fear mongering. That was another big thing where it was literally just like, if you deny the COVID vaccine, dirty. And it was like, you've never, like, vaccines are normally trialed for how long? And then how long COVID. You remember how quick Pfizer released that shit? They released it like they had it already.
It's not just that. That's you weren't trying to get us shot. Now you're trying to get us shot. It's not just that, but it was funny to see that the amount of people that had to do U-turns when the information came out that the COVID vaccine does not stop you passing it on.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
they're like, if you
That's
don't
the
get
one thing it was for.
That was what.
That was the one
the
thing
whole
it was supposed
point
to be
was.
for.
Yeah, so that's why they said, you're a bad person if you don't get a vaccine because you're going to be transmitting it and you don't care, right? And then it doesn't stop you from you know.
It's just like situation normal.
Yeah.
Like, let's not address that at all.
Yeah, exactly.
There are 3 trillion trees in the world across 73,000 species. If we cut down 1 tree per second, it would take 94,000 years to cut down every single tree. If you started cutting them down in the Ice Age, you would just be finishing now. Today. You finish today. So
And you know what's interesting? When people say, protect the trees, I said, how many thousands of trees do you think were cut down today so that you can wipe your backside?
literally, so you
And
can not even wipe it properly as well. Like, Jesus Christ.
I know you don't have a
Leave them skid marks in it. No, legit.
Leave them skid marks in your knickers. So, yeah.
Yeah, that is insane. Interestingly, the timber industry cuts down 15 billion trees per year. 15 billion, 15 billion per year.
And that's nothing.
So that we could, like,
and there's 3
What do
trillion
we even do
trees.
in paper? Yeah,
That's not even a drop.
It's a drop in the ocean. And the funniest thing is, people think a billion is to a trillion as a million is to a billion. It's
Is it not?
No, it gets
it's not.
exponentially more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like, or people think it is. People think a billion is to a trillion as 1 is to 100 or something like that. It's exponentially more. So I saw this infographic. I'm gonna see if I can find it for you.
I've seen it. It's like
When you see when there's like a pallet, there's a pallet with $1 million in cash on it, and it's just like an AI infographic, and you just see it, and you're like, that's a lot of money. And they show you a billion, you're like, well, it's not. I thought a million was like 1/10 of a billion. No, it's like 1/100th of a billion.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
1 trillion. It's incalculable. They say like once you get to a certain number, the human brain stops being able
Do you
to
know what the
compute.
number is?
What is the number?
7.
Is it?
So basically, you see when there's these adverts for help starving children, they'll have one child. It will focus on
Yeah,
one child
100%.
because if it tells you there's a million children in Africa, your mind just goes,
Your brain
yeah,
give
we
up.
just
You're
don't
like,
care.
I could never help a
We
million
don't
children.
care. So
I could never help a
the only
million
reason,
children.
yeah, exactly. So the reason why I know that is because obviously I went to university and I did digital television production, and obviously,
Okay.
you know. But yeah, 7. That's all we can
That's
compute.
insane.
Any more than that, we're just like, yeah,
Just
whatever,
give
shut
up.
up.
100%. Yeah,
We're
that's
just
insane.
interested. I know you thought I was going to say something like 500
I
pounds.
honestly don't know. I did think it was going to be 7.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story. Story time. In 2014, the US President Barack Obama said this. Okay, the science is in. 97% of scientists agree. The debate is over. They tell us this is urgent. We need to act now. He was, of course, talking about climate change. Now, I don't believe President Obama knew this at the time, but since then, the statistic 97% of scientists agree has been proven to be a lie. And it was invented for you, the non-expert. The non-expert like me and you can read a statistic like that, 97% of scientists or experts agree. Now we have no need to look at the data because all the experts agree, right? But it has been proven to be a lie. And I know you don't believe me, so go and Google it. There was a massive scandal about it. So you, stop doom scrolling, go Google it and get your ass back over here and hit the sub button.
You have to. You have to. We
You
deserve
literally-
it. We deserve
100%.
it. You owe us.
So yeah, I've got lots more to tell you, like what the actual percentage of scientists believe climate change is anthropogenic, i.e. a man-made problem. And I learned that word from this book, anthropogenic. It sounds so intelligent. Couldn't spell it though.
I think that's super interesting, to be fair. And
Yeah,
it's super
it's the
interesting.
reason why we believe it. The reason why we believe in climate change has been a lie.
100%, but
You know.
not to bring it back to this too much, but to bring it back to the COVID for just a second, there was doctors that lost their jobs because they were like, do not take this vaccine. I'm a licensed physician. And the funny thing is, the one weapon I was used to attack people that was skeptical of the vaccine is like, oh, you know what you're talking about. You're not a doctor. You're some girl on Facebook. There'll be doctors who are saying, do not
Yeah.
take this vaccine. It's not safe. I'm a licensed physician. I would never recommend this to my patient via the Hippocratic Oath. And they basically lost their jobs.
Yeah, of course.
So hey, listen, people make you feel like it's gaslighting. That's what it is. It's the perfect word for it. It's
Yeah,
gaslighting.
100%.
It's gaslighting. Globally, we spend $1 billion a day on climate change solutions. And we still haven't fixed it yet. Who's getting paid the billion for the climate change solutions? Was it Rupert Murdoch?
Yeah.
He's getting paid. Listen, someone's getting paid.
making money from this.
Someone's making
And someone
disgraceful shillings.
doesn't want to find an answer.
Somebody
either.
doesn't want to find an answer. War is good for business. Do you know what I mean?
Imagine I paid you to do my dishes, and I paid you
Literally.
£1,000 a day, and I said your job finishes when the dishes finishes.
The dishes ain't finishing.
I bet you the dishes ain't
Listen,
finished.
I'm yamming, that's it.
I bet you, and you're gonna say, "Oh, there's more dishes over here, and there's more
Literally.
down here, and that's
is what it
we're
is.
paying these lot, we're giving them a
100%.
blank check,
100%.
so they're gonna use it."
Well, it goes back to what I said about the Ministry of Defence. It said your job is to wage war. You get paid as long as there is war. You have all these missiles to sell. In peace, you can't sell them to anybody.
Do you remember
because
that
there's
quote
need
that
for
I
it.
showed you that you already knew about the Russell Brand thing?
Oh,
That
yeah.
would be fitting. Could you say it, or you didn't say it?
Nah, not
Yeah, no, but it
verbatim.
was brilliant. It was like, how
Not
can you have a
verbatim.
society that the army profits when at a time of war, and the doctors profit at a time of
Yeah, with sickness,
medical,
literally.
sickness, and
Well, that's capitalism,
It was a
to be fair.
pharmaceutical companies.
You follow
Yeah,
the money.
well, yeah.
Follow the money, and you would tend to find where people's motivations are. As long
Well,
as
that's
you
funny.
follow the
'Cause I've
money,
got something that says exactly that.
literally just follow the money.
Did you know the climate change debate has never been officially settled? So the government, or the IPCC, said, you scientists, go figure it out. Are humans really behind climate change? So the scientists went away, about 12,000 of them, to do their research. And the results were astounding. Out of 12,000 papers, only 40 scientists agreed that climate change is anthropogenic, meaning driven by humans. This is on record. That's 0.3%. The IPCC, which is the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, didn't like this result. They thought to themselves, how are we going to sell 6 billion electric cars? That's a lot of tax money we were looking forward to.
We already made
We already
them.
made them. So they handpicked those same 40 papers out of 12,000, and they added in 2 more papers from the opposing side, because 100% would look too suspicious, right?
Would look very suspicious.
So that's where we get the statistic 97% of scientists agree. We have been lied to. I know you cannot believe your ears, so go and Google it. Type in 97% of scientists agree. That's all you need to type in, and it comes up right to the top of the page. That deserves a subscribe, surely.
The funniest thing is, information being suppressed isn't even like it used to be back in the day, because most of you lot are too dumb to even look for yourselves. They literally trust you to just not look.
And you know what? It's even actually more matrixy than that. You know, you would find the information and you would look at it as if it's fake. So
Yeah, 100%, because it wasn't on BBC News.
Yeah. Oh, this is propaganda. Oh, it's fake. It's fake. You know, it's you don't. Do you know they got you when you can't even believe your own eyes?
Literally.
You've been had when you cannot believe your own eyes. It's done.
Yeah, no, you've literally been had.
It's done.
That's the one you've been had. It's long. Give up. Just keep paying
Off
$1 billion.
yourself.
Just keep paying $1 billion. 100%.
Yeah.
Just keep paying it.
You know, it's not our money anyway. Don't care, right?
Literally.
These men are making money off us, boy.
Yeah, 100%. They ain't making $1 billion off me. I know that one.
See?
My pockets are empty. My pockets are empty. Oh, I got 2 more, but this is a good 2. Oh, actually, wait. Yeah, no, I got 2 more. Let me do this one. Cutting down trees is good for the environment. A very simple rule of capitalism is that a thing becomes valuable at the point where support outweighs resistance. When demand for a thing becomes greater than supply for the thing. Yeah, when demand for a thing becomes greater than supply for the thing, the money follows. People don't understand this very simple concept. If you want to save trees, then you need to use more wood. Using more wooden products incentivizes businesses to grow more trees. If trees don't make any money, then landowners are likely to flatten land or grow something that's profitable. In a capitalistic market, people do what is profitable. Do you know what I mean? So if it's profitable to grow trees, people will grow more trees. The only way for trees to be profitable is if people use more wood. People buy more books. If people, buy more bookcases like the one that we threw away.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely is good for the environment that trees are getting cut down. Because of that, the reaction of trees getting cut down. Trees can get cut down for what they are valuable as. If they were just there, people wouldn't grow trees. Farmers wouldn't grow trees. If the timber industry cuts down 15 million trees a year. They're making serious money off that.
There's a lot of jobs.
Yeah, job creation. They're making serious money off that. There's a lot of money being made off that.
Did you know carbon dioxide only accounts for 0.004% of the atmosphere? And carbon emissions from burning fossil fuels only count for 3% of that. That's a tiny fraction within a tiny fraction. But let's forget the complications for a minute. Let's simplify it. Let's say we could actually control how much carbon dioxide is in the air, which we can't. Do you really think controlling 0.04% of the atmosphere is going to mean that we can control the temperature of the globe? As if CO2 is some planetary temperature control knob. Well, if you believe that, I know who the real knob is. Wake the fuck up.
I think probably people like the people are dramatic for dramatic licensing reasons. People watch too many movies. They like the idea of a knob that you can turn down the temperature, turn up the temperature. So that kind of thing probably appeals to some people. Oh, CO2 is the knob that we was looking for. No, you're the knob we was looking for.
I don't know how you recycled my joke.
Yeah, I know. I knew he was gonna say that.
And you made me laugh. And I should have seen that coming, shouldn't I?
I think that's funny, to be fair, though.
No.
It's like, I recently heard about this thing where scientists say CO2 basically makes the planet warmer. And like less CO2 would mean the planet would freeze or whatever. And then, obviously, with the whole Ice Age thing...
Yeah, did you really say that?
No, we didn't. I'm about to say it.
I don't know if you saw
Yeah, no, I saw that. I was just looking at that. There is no correlation between CO2 and temperature. None. Zero correlation. According to a study in 2013, 12,500 years ago, the CO2 in the air was 3 times as high as it is now. Literally outside. And that was in the middle of an ice age. What's interesting is that the people who say these things are nowhere on the internet. The people who are going to give this information, they're nowhere. They're ghosts. It's as if they've been taken out. It's as if the information has been suppressed for some reason. One side of the entire debate is just missing. And the only time people suppress information is when they're very conscious that something dangerous might be said. So it's really weird how we think CO2 controls the temperature when studies will be posted and like you just won't hear about them. So a study posted that said it doesn't, and you just won't hear about it.
That doesn't make the news for some reason.
For some weird reason, Rupert Murdoch said, "Get that off.
Yeah,
get that one off."
Yeah, but no.
It's
None of that.
not what we're about here.
I have a rule. If you want to know who is behind it all, follow the money. Someone has been lying to us about this climate crisis. Think about it for a minute. Who stands to gain from us buying electric cars? I don't want to be assassinated, so I'm not going to say his name, but it rhymes with Elon Musk. And he owns an electric car company that rhymes with Tesla. Jokes aside though, but think about it. If 4 billion people on the planet bought a Tesla, how much money would that make him and the government? You are a pawn on a chessboard and you are about to be sacrificed. But yeah, think about it. 4 billion Teslas, right? How much tax is the government getting off that? Who knows? Who knows?
Shillings.
Who knows? And we're not talking about 4 billion pounds. We're talking about 4 billion Teslas. They're about what, 50, 60, 70 grand each.
Yeah, no.
The number's too much.
So when you think about it and you think, oh, how could they do this to us? Look at the numbers we're dealing with. You would do it to you. You have been doing it to you.
You are doing it. You are doing
You
it.
literally
to
have been
You're
doing it to you. And you've been doing it for free.
But the electric cars are saving the planet. You fucking idiot. Seriously.
Oh my God.
I mean, we don't even need to go into the cobalt.
Because they put the
into
green stripe.
cobalt.
Because they put the green stripe on them.
Yeah, you know about the cobalt mines.
I've heard something about the cobalt.
Where you get the battery, they farm it. And
Oh yeah,
bro, people are dying every day. It's like
100%,
slavery.
100%.
It's like slavery.
Man said like slavery. So they put a green strip on the license plate. You for green? Trees. It's really, really weird. How people do that. It's a natural colour. It's really, really weird. But it's very easy to get people to be
You're
there.
actually so true. You're actually talking so much sense. Listen, if we turn up dead, I would never assassinate my... Sorry. I would never take suicide.
Literally, I would never take suicide.
I would never take suicide.
Something happened.
Something
Something happened. 100%.
Oh, man.
It's not always the fault of climate change scientists. Sometimes it's the fault of the media for immediately jumping on the bandwagon of the climate change crisis. I really don't know if fault is the right word because they're doing it purposefully. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, the media. So, you can't really blame them either because what is going to sell more newspapers than the end of the world? Dun dun dun! That's going to sell the newspaper. You see end of the world on the headlines. So, for example, scientists in the university will look at how warmer temperatures from 100 years from now will affect butterflies. Their study would have a range of projected temperatures. They won't look at the probability of temperatures rising, but they will look at the impact on butterflies theoretically if temperatures do rise. So science is really looked at in a very if kind of way. So they look at things and they use that to project what could potentially happen, and then they frame that as if it's going to, as opposed to what it actually is. So on a slow news day, journalists will use that story, they'll title it, "Butterflies to face doom in 100 years from now due to global warming." And then obviously, a lot of people honestly do not read articles, they read the headlines, and then they go on Mumsnet, the butterflies are running out. Global warming's going to kill all the butterflies.
It's not even that. They might not go online, but someone will be talking to them and they'll be like, "Oh, but didn't you hear?
Yeah, didn't you hear?
Yeah, didn't you hear the butterfly?" And then I've told you now, and then you're saying, "Oh yeah, and also the butterflies are disappearing."
This is how misinformation
You know what I mean?
spreads. And then there's certain people that the butterflies are disappearing. This must be 5G, and it's just like,
yeah,
maybe I don't know.
Well, it's part of the reason why us humans like gossip. You know,
Yeah,
it just
that's
spreads.
it's interesting.
I don't know enough to understand.
Yeah, it spreads like wildfire,
Yeah.
and it's extremely dangerous for that reason.
What they
And it's
say?
why certain societies ban speech because it's literally just like, do not speak. Your speech is dangerous.
Well, they say something like wildfire spreads quickly through with was it deadwood? Something like that.
deadwood, dry leaves, and that.
All
of that.
Carbon dioxide is not poison. That's another lie that is told by climate change activists. Every living thing on the planet Earth needs carbon dioxide. As you know, trees and plants take in carbon dioxide and they release oxygen. If you want the planet to be more green, then we need carbon dioxide and we need to increase our carbon dioxide levels.
We need to double our efforts.
To call carbon dioxide a poison is a corruption of language. It's like calling soap poison. I mean, to bacteria it is. It's like saying a small loan of $1 million. That's a corruption of language, guys. The Earth is going greener because of CO2. It's good for trees, wildlife, natural habitats, and food production. It'd be crazy to try and reduce CO2. We need more of it.
I love it.
Not less.
Delicious. Yeah, no, 100%. I always was told that CO2 was poison as well. And it's just like, so we breathe in oxygen, the trees, and we breathe out CO2 or whatever. And like the CO2 is the poison. I don't know, like what, I don't even, I just remember learning that CO2 was poisonous.
It's a corruption of language. It's a small loan of $1 million is a corruption of language.
100%.
We're using these emotive adjectives to control people.
That only makes sense in context.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just not true.
Yeah, no,
It's not true.
100%. The climate system already has its own way of cooling itself against the biggest heat source in the galaxy. Before I was going to say world, didn't it? Galaxy! So, for example, clouds deflect up to 30% of the sun's heat back out into space, solar energy, solar radiation. Similarly, greenhouse gases limit how cold the climate can get. There is no way to tell how much of recent warming is due to humans because we have no idea how much heat is being increased or decreased by the defensive mechanism of the clouds, precipitation, etc. The only way to figure out how much of a cooling effect the clouds are having today is to remove all of the clouds in the sky and then measure the global temperature increase. And since it is impossible to do that, we have no way of knowing if climate change is anthropogenic, meaning due to humans. It's impossible to know. So scientists are lying to you. But the funny thing is, scientists have to lie to us because, like we said, they're mercenaries. So I read this study one time that basically said what these scientists did is they were examining the differences in the brains of trans men and trans women of their assigned genders. So they were examining the differences in their brains. They're examining the differences in their brains and trying to see if trans men is there any similarities after they transition to what they say they transition to. Like they're trying to make the link. They said they found everything to the opposite and binned all the research. They said they found everything to the opposite. They found 0 links and binned all the research. They said these aren't the droids we was looking for.
Do you know what? I'm just gonna enjoy this episode because we're definitely gonna get assassinated.
We're gonna get shot.
No, you're
shot.
like 100%.
The C4s are already under the sea.
really trying to fuck us, aren't you?
They literally said, and the funny thing is, it was a views piece by an LGBT website, LGBT blog, and they even said the research should be binned. They said the research should be binned because it's like this is not a healthy way of looking at. I was like, but this is you started this. You literally started this.
Gosh. What did they expect?
Disgraceful.
Whoop.
Disgraceful. Disgraceful.
I think no, I've got a couple. The temperature of the Earth is controlled by many different variables, such as the sun, volcanoes, the rotation of Earth's axis, ocean cycles, water vapor in the atmosphere, clouds, dust, methane, plate tectonics, atmospheric dust, atmospheric circulation, even particles like carbon soot. We think controlling only carbon dioxide is going to give us the power to control the temperature on Earth. Dream on. Water vapor is the most important greenhouse gas by far, and it's in a far higher concentration than carbon dioxide. Why is it that we do not attempt to control or reduce water vapor in the atmosphere? Is it because water vapor cannot be monopolized like fossil fuels? Can't be monetized? Is that the reason why? I don't know. Don't want to say too much.
Yeah, we literally don't want to say too much. But the funny thing is, humans are great at monetizing things. We're great at it. There's like not many things that we can't monetize.
We monetize water. It's fucking
legit.
free.
It's free. It's literally free. It's free. It's genuinely free. We make people pay for the same thing over and over again. So like, we make people pay for car insurance. We make people pay for road tax. We make people pay for congestion charge. And you're driving the same fucking car to the same place. Back and forth, paying the same tax like 3 times.
The dumbest one. We have to pay to park our car. We have to pay to stop driving.
We have to pay to
stop driving.
If you don't pay, you have to keep driving. You have to keep driving. It's ridiculous.
Imagine you're not spending. Put it this way, by putting your car there, you're not inconveniencing anyone.
Because it's a parking spot.
It's a parking spot. That's what it's for.
We
have to pay to not drive your
water
car.
is definitely the worst one because I saw this stat where it literally said every single drop of water on the planet has been here like forever. It's been recycled around like through like ecosystem, whatever. Every single drop of water. There's no more water. There's no less water. Do you know what I mean? So whoever runs the water company, by the time they was born, all the water was already there. When they die, the same water will still be here. And they're charging for it. And it ain't cheap.
And it's not just, it's even worse than that. We pay a water bill, right? And the water benefits the government. Because if there was no water, the amount of disease and whatnot that would be around, deaths and whatnot, so they charge us for something that benefits them.
So they're getting paid twice.
Genius.
I would work for the government. I definitely would work for the government. Did you know that the polar bears are doing so well that climate activists have dropped them from their campaign? Not only that, but do you remember the panic of apparently the polar ice caps in the Arctic disappearing? Well, guess what? In 2014, the Arctic broke all records for sea ice expansion, and in 2016, it smashed records again. The Arctic amassed even more ice. The Arctic and polar bears have been doing so well, climate activists have changed from global warming to climate change. Why do you think this is? It's because the temperature of the planet has been annoyingly stable. So I personally think it's polar bears and the polar ice caps is, like I said, in 1958, they thought by the time of our children, they said by the time of our children, so that's mid-70s, they thought was going to be able to sail through the North Pole. They thought it was that bad. And the temperature's barely gone up 1 degree since then. It's gone up 1 degree since 100 years before they thought that.
And this is the thing, they thought that with no evidence. They didn't have satellites. So they didn't have, they could barely get up in the sky. And they probably measuring it like this, you know.
Yeah. If you go there, it don't look like it's melting. I'll tell you that much. Like you said, these men are smashing records.
They say even icebergs, most of the ice is below the water.
Yeah,
I mean, there was
8% of the mass is
even so
below
much
water.
things in this book. They said something like scientists cannot agree how to measure the temperature of the globe, because how do you do it? Everyone
Where do you
hold
go?
up a thermometer in here, it's global temperature. Scientists, climate change activists refuse to use the most accurate means of measuring the temperature of the planet, and that's with satellites. They refuse to do it because it's not consistent with their findings. So they prefer to measure it at the ground level, which doesn't make any sense because the planet Earth, think about measuring the temperature of just a building that has multiple floors. The temperature's going to be different,
Must have
right?
ground level.
The temperature's going to be different. So, think about the globe. This is a joke. It's a joke. Global temperature. What the fuck does that even mean? Over there, we've got Africa, it's baking. Over here, we've got Antarctica. Like, what are you talking about?
Literally.
Like, what are you talking about? You're a bloody disgrace.
This is the reason why, it's gone from global cooling to global warming inside 20 years. It's like you just went to different parts, innit? So it's like, you didn't change temperature. The lack of Category 3 hurricanes hitting the land for a period of 12 years in America has led climate activists to recategorize hurricanes and to revise the statistics to make them look worse. Andrew Friedman, who was the editor of a climate change newsletter, said, "It's time to face the facts that the way we measure hurricanes and the way we communicate their likely impact is seriously flawed. We need a new system that actually predicts the seriousness and potential death and destruction." So basically, they want to bump up the scale so that even a storm that wouldn't class as a level 1 would now be upgraded to a level 1. But what's funny is he was like, we need to face the facts.
That's dangerous language,
That's dangerous language.
When you say things
what
like
do you mean
that,
we need to face the facts?
Like, we say it with so much authority.
So much
these words,
conviction.
These words, they're dangerous.
Dangerous.
Man said, we
It's
need
dangerous.
to face the facts, Joseph.
When
you need
someone
to start
says
paying
that-
me more money.
Yeah.
We need to
Do you
face,
know what I mean?
we need to face the facts that
Do you
you
know what I
don't
mean?
really belong in the UK.
Yeah, do you know
Have
what I
you seen
mean?
your skin color? You don't really. We need to face the. It's
When you say that, people just start
dangerous.
thinking I might have to face the facts.
It's, yeah, well, it's a fact.
Yeah.
Like, you put yourself on the right, right. When you say you need to face the facts, now I'm arguing against facts.
Yeah, 100%.
It's crazy.
That
Well,
is
you need to
crazy
face the
language.
facts that you did go twice.
Yeah.
You did go twice.
Oh, yeah, I did. I did literally face the facts.
I didn't know whether to stop you. I wanted to hear what you had to say.
Is that the new? Is that the new? I need to face the facts.
You need to face it's fine. I'll go twice. Oh, Mrs. wishes I said that to her. Can't manage it.
Oh, then I can't hold it.
So, scientists are all corrupt. They are effectively mercenaries. They are paid by the government to create findings of a preset agenda. Look at the IPCC, which is the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change. They say on their own website, our purpose is to make the case for action. That in and of itself is biased. You notice their purpose isn't to see if or how the climate is changing and if the planet needs help. Their goal is to make people see that action is necessary. So no matter what the results are, they want action. And you know why, don't you? Because action equals funding. And funding it's all about the Benjamins.
It's all about the Benjamins, 100%.
Global warming is a falsifiable statement. With climate change, any hot weather, cold weather, any storm, tornado, cyclone, hurricanes, any sort of unprecedented weather can be attributed to climate change. Even heat waves, they can pretend that they predicted it because this is proof of climate change. Whether the ice caps melt or increase, it doesn't matter. It's climate change. Until we get perfect weather on all 150 million square miles of the planet Earth, climate change activists will always be able to shout boo. And this is why they changed it from global warming, because that's falsifiable. We can clearly see the globe's not getting warmer, you know, or not significantly warmer. So, you know. But yeah, man, this book, it was a lot. You know,
It's quite scary, to be fair.
where did you get the book?
Sorry?
Where did you get it?
Climate
Yeah.
change? Audible.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah,
so you
I-
listened to it?
yeah, I
Did you use
listened
my
to this
one.
one. Yeah.
How did you do that at the same time as me? That's ridiculous.
No, because I think we did it opposite sides. So which one did you listen to first?
Operation Buy-In.
I
don't know
to be
how-
fair, I was reading Operation Buy-In at the same time.
All right, but anyway.
So did you ever log on and realise it was like in a different place?
It's happened once or twice, but not in this occasion.
Not this one. Oh,
Not in this occasion.
maybe it was just on
Fair
different
enough.
days.
Just got lucky.
We just got lucky.
I tried to look at the not Weatherstones. I'm an alcoholic. I wanted to say Weatherspoons. I'm 2 weeks sober.
Yeah,
But yeah.
Waterstones.
So Waterstones. This book is unavailable on Waterstones. Unavailable. Can't
That's
get
mad.
it. Can't get
In
it.
Waterstones.
Waterstones.
Like what?
What does that say?
That's crazy.
But yeah, let me say my last point. You're
Being
done now,
suppressed.
innit?
Yeah. Being suppressed.
For every acre of the Amazonian rainforest cut down, 50 acres grow back in a green crown. Not only do people leave swamps and marsh to roam, but consider their move to an urban home. So now you know. For every acre of the Amazonian rainforest that's cut down, 50 acres are growing back. This is because the jungle is so dense and conditions are so humid that vegetation can easily replenish itself. So for example, you're cutting down this section over here, right? Remember, the whole jungle's constantly, aggressively growing, right? So you cut down this acre, and you cut down this acre. By the time you look back,
Tree mod.
you know, it's come back up. So, you know, the previous acres have already started to grow back. It's like chasing weeds in your garden, except for the fact that the Amazon jungle is the biggest garden with the most aggressive weeds in the road. That also has a multitude of animals and insects that could kill you within 2 minutes of you arriving.
Not only that, it's the perfect climate for these things to be growing as well. Your garden might not have the perfect climate, but the Amazon jungle as well, like, bro, the size of it, literally, and it takes time to cut these trees down as well. It's like, it's not like you're slicing them down instantly, killing them one time.
And even as it's decomposing or whatever, that's nutrients going back into the ground.
Yeah, you
So
can't win. You can't win against nature.
You know, yeah. All the seeds from the trees going right back into the ground. All of them.
Juicing up the other ones.
And it's just growing back.
It's juicing
just
up the other
growing
ones as well.
So yeah, also the second part of the poem, not only do people leave swamps and marsh to roam, but consider their move to an urban home. Did you know the Amazon rainforest still houses many indigenous tribes? There are around 400 tribes, and every year that number gets smaller as they move out of the wetlands and swamps and closer to urban areas. It's as if as they leave, it's almost like they're allowing the jungle to reclaim itself. So yeah, that's another myth about that. That's what the climate change activists used to go. The Amazon jungle is disappearing. It's bullshit.
Funniest part is when I was young, I used to hear that all the
Yeah,
time. The jungle's
yeah,
disappearing.
yeah.
Then why are we cutting down all the jungles? We
Yeah.
can't physically cut down all
You
the
can't.
jungles. It's not
I mean,
possible.
you would have to actually purposefully try
Yeah.
to cut down the jungle.
You'd
You
have to
can't. You
move
can't do it by
everything.
accident.
Yeah,
you
you'd
can't
have
do it by accident.
just run out of trees because you cut them all down
Whoops.
to make books with. Yeah.
So yeah, that brings us to the end of this extensive piece of literature. It's one of the best books I believe it's one of the best books we've read. We're gonna have to. I think we should buy all the books that are 5 stars and have it in and actually put it on our bookcase.
What, alphabetical?
I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah, we should put all the best books, 5-star books, because this I believe is a 5-star book. Do you agree?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'd go with that.
You know, there's just so much information in there. But yeah, there's a quote. There's a quote that I've got. Actually, no, I'm gonna save it.
Get my charger, please.
I need to charge as well. But yeah, listen. Till next time, guys.
Till next time.